So I don't know what image springs to mind to you when you think about Scotland's built heritage and the work done by the National Trust for Scotland. For me, and I'm sure many others, it's things like stunning castles like Castle Fraser, set in beautiful landscapes, beautiful countryside. I've just started working for the National Trust. I've only been there for 2 weeks, so I'm going to talk a bit about the kind of weird and wonderful things I've discovered in those 2 weeks, and some of the quirkier aspects involved in being responsible for historic buildings. This is a rare Arma Christi, which is the coat of arms for Christ, which survived the Reformation. The house at Pebmedden Walled Garden has been altered over the years, and it's now missing its original front porch. The current archway acts as quite a considerable wind tunnel, and there's much discussion that's been going on for years, apparently, about possibly reinstating the original porch. This photo is from the 1940s, showing the original in place. A lot of it's gone missing. There's quite a history of pilfering between the different properties. Note the detailed finials on either side of the porch, because you'll see one of them in a minute. Yeah, it's now part of the fountain in the upper garden at Pebmedden. We've no idea where his friend is. He may have gone missing somewhere. There's another disputed item, which is a lion, which may have seen in the gardens at Drum, which apparently disappeared in the dead of night from Pebmedden. Fyvie Castle, I've been hearing mostly about toilets and ghosts. I'm not a believer in ghosts myself, but apparently there is a phantom pusher, and there's been a number of incidents in the house that involving people being pushed off ladders with nobody there. Hopefully I won't experience that. So I'm learning just how important toilets are as part of the visitor experience. If they're not nice, everybody complains about them. If they're nice, nobody notices. That, along with cakes, are the biggest complaints, apparently. Where are we now? Oh yeah, within the same walled garden that we were just looking at, where I'm going to be looking at some of the loos, this door is due for redecoration. However, we're only allowed to decorate this side of it because it's got some 1940s graffiti on the back, which has been deemed historically significant. I'm not quite sure what it says. This is Haddo House, which also has a lot of ghost stories, mostly told to me the other day by the local electrician. It also has a historic graffiti inside, which is the upstand in one of the oval roof lights, dating back to the 1920s. Everybody who's worked on a building has been up there and signed it. Apparently I've got to take a pencil up when I go up there and sign it as well. So within the Haddo House, we have the south wing, which until quite recently was home of Lady Aberdeen, who died in 2013. As you can see, it's a bit of a time warp, and quite a contrast to the rest of the building, which, with its mid-century kind of fittings and fixtures, mid-20th century. There's also quite a lot of vintage wallpaper in there. The family had a bit of a thing for trains, which we'll see a bit later on. There's also some fabulous Paddington wallpaper, which I'm quite envious of, and rather a lot of busy florals as well throughout the apartment. Again, this is the pantry, laundry room, another example of a moment in time preserved in the south wing. So again, there's much debate about what to do with this part of the building, whether or not to preserve it as a museum piece or to bring it back into use. This is the service entrance of the same area. At the moment, this is inaccessible to the general public, except for once a year, when it is the spectacular entrance to the Haddo House of Horror Halloween event. Should be coming up next. All the property managers have talked so far to me about the problem of engaging younger adults. And Haddo's Halloween event has become a great success in drawing that demographic in and using the south wing as an excellent spooky backdrop for this. And this year's event is almost sold out already, even though it's not until the end of the year. Going back to trains, this is the attic of Haddo House. There's a fantastic network, and they all go through the walls and things of this model railway. And to give you some idea of the scale, the carriages are about this big. And there's also apparently some giggling children ghosts that live in there as well, which I haven't encountered, thankfully. Weddings have become a big important part of the services the National Trust for Scotland provide. The library at Haddo House is very popular, but popularity brings its own problems. The marble busts on the quadrant leading up to this are regularly covered in lipstick from over-amorous wedding guests and have to be cleaned off, much to the Conservatives' annoyance. The carpet also suffers from the extra footfall, and recently the original overlay of the carpet was replaced with a fully digital printed one, complete with all the original stains on the carpet. The eye mat, that's known as, is produced by using what looks like a giant scanner, which scans the carpet. You can see the one on the top overlaying is the new cover. And if you'll notice, when you go to Haddo the next time, you spot this, because I hadn't noticed it, you see the edge is actually a digital print of the timber which surrounds the carpet to protect the edges. So when you stand on it, it looks like timber, but it isn't. So I just want to leave you with thoughts about what we should be looking to cherish now for future generations, and also how to engage younger people to think about our built heritage. My family and I were lucky enough to get tickets to go to Hinterland at St Peter's Seminary. It was a wonderful experience, and even though we got rained on, but that kind of made it all the better. And these are the sort of buildings we should be looking to save for the future. It was also an excellent example of how a piece of built heritage can be brought to life not just as a backdrop for wedding photos, but as an immersive experience. Thank you very much.